Hi, welcome to the Resources Roadhouse. I'm Wally Graham and I'm in Melbourne. I'm at the 2019 RIU Resources Roadshow and I'm with Rob Longley. Now Rob is with Ardiden and it's not Talk Like a Pirate Day today. Ardiden is the name of the company. So you're over in Canada. Gold focused in Canada, making some inroads there too, I believe.
That's right. Ardiden, as you correctly say, has been in the gold space heavily for the last 3 years, and I was brought on board in May, and I've really focused all of their attention into the gold projects that they have. So they now have 100% owned projects in Ontario, which is a gold mining province.
Yep.
And we think that's the best way to get value for the shareholders out of Ardiden's assets.
And importantly, you've also got a JORC compliant resource over there.
Yes, the existing properties, which are called Pickle Lake Gold, have historical resources, but as a geologist myself, I think it's important to report JORC resources. So on the 10th of September, we announced our maiden JORC resource, high-grade gold at Casaminegas, which is one of 4 deposits in the Pickle Lake project, which is 110,000 ounces at 4.3 grams per tonne. So a high-grade resource, probably going to be an underground potential, which are what most of the mines are in that area.
Yep.
So it's important to get that grade up to separate us from the lower-grade open pit stuff.
And so future exploration work, whereabouts are you looking around the project area?
Well, we've got a lot of opportunities on our own ground. As I say, we've got 4 properties in total which have some old drilling on it and some good results, and historical resources that I'm going to work and convert those progressively into JORC resources. So build on 110,000 ounces and get that up into a sizable number. There are opportunities around us to also pick up additional tenure. Pickle Lake is kind of a forgotten area in Ontario. There's no existing operating mine, but there are 4 old underground mines which go down over a kilometre, high grade above 10 grams.
Yep.
So it's a gold area that's pulled out 3 million ounces since the 30s. So we think it's an area that Ardiden can take advantage of with the foothold that we already have in the area.
Okay, and it's an interesting area to end up in, up there in Canada, and in an old, it is an old gold mining region. What took you up there?
I think originally Ardiden, before I was here, Neil Hackett is here, the chairman who started the company basically in 2004, 2005. Assets were brought to them to look at, and they've been through a few different types of assets. I think some of the shareholders have lost interest because they've changed from graphite to cobalt to copper.
Right.
But over the last 3 or 4 years, they've really done well in the lithium space. So they had a flagship lithium project, which they still own 100%, which has 4.8 million tonnes at 1.25% lithium. The market isn't good for lithium at the moment, so what they've been doing was accumulating the ownership in this gold property over the last 2 or 3 years, so that if things didn't work well in one commodity, you had a good backup plan for shareholders.
Right.
So that's where we are. It's been a cheap acquisition, hasn't cost a lot of money, and there's good opportunities there, I think, to go forward in the current gold climate.
And well, I was just thinking too, and you hit the nail on there, the current gold climate, it is a good climate. The gold is very encouraging at the moment. Being up in Canada as well, you'll get that North American interest as well.
Well, it works 2 ways. I think some of the companies around us are finding it hard to raise funds on the TSX. So North American companies your juniors aren't well funded. So, Canaccord are on our books, so we've got Canadian instos on our books. They're interested in what we're doing. But some of those other companies which might be struggling for cash, we're talking to them, seeing how we can potentially earn into other projects. I'm a geologist, so I don't get too far into financial predictions about the market, but everyone knows at the moment gold is good. And the Australians moving into North America, Canada, sort of prove up that jurisdiction. Extremely low risk. And I've worked in Africa for many years, and there's pros and cons of everywhere you go. But there's a lot of boxes you can tick in Canada and North America that you don't even have to worry about.
Right. And you've got a lot of ASX listed neighbours just floating around the neighbourhood anyway.
Well, the big ones have moved in, which people have seen in other media outlets that St Barbara, Northern Star, Newcrest have obviously made a massive investment over there. So I guess the expense of assets in Australia has made them look into other jurisdictions, and they've picked that jurisdiction as being a mining jurisdiction, stable government, easy to operate in once you're set up. I mean, you've got to deal with a different climate there, and that's in a way kind of my niche, working in different terrains. So yeah, and there's juniors creeping in sort of under the radar a little bit, and we're already well placed there to build on what we already own, and I think aggregate around that.
All right, so what can we expect to hear from Ardiden in the next?
Well, there'll be no more pirate news.
But sorry, I just couldn't resist.
That's all right. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. Well, we're going to do our drilling program in winter in Canada, which is summer here. Yeah. So January, February, March at Casamigos, and we're going to build on that 110,000 ounces maiden resource, 4.3 grams. We're going to drill out onto basically an area which hasn't been drilled before because it's the lake. You can drill in summer or you can drill in winter, but you need the ice thick. So we're planning some ice drilling. They're shallow lakes, 6 to 10 feet sort of deep. We need some permissions to do that and goodwill from the First Nations people, which are our stakeholders in the area. They'll be involved in that. So that'll be the news flow in terms of adding to our resource. We've got a large historical database on our other properties, which I'm busy mining, looking through other additional resources in their old resources that we can report under JORC guidelines. So we may be able to add to our resource without spending any more money on drilling.
Okay, just convert the almost
and just cumulatively build up that resource base to a more significant number.
All right. Well, no doubt that, it sounds like there's going to be quite a bit of news coming through, which is good, and we will be bringing all of that news to you on the Resources Roadhouse. So Rob Longley, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Wally. Thanks for your time.